Hi, I'm Rose McDonough, and those of you who know me personally know that I'm a tad vertically challenged. All right, maybe a little more than tad. I'm not even 5 feet tall. So I have to hem almost everything I wear, or I roll them up on the bottom. And I've been wearing these pants rolled up and they're starting to get bulky, and I thought, it's time to hem them, for heaven's sakes. I do know how to do that. And then I realized that maybe you would like to do this, and my cousin had asked me months ago if I would do something about hemming. You do not need to have a tape measure to hem. I don't actually even need to use the tape measure because I rolled it up to exactly where I wanted it to be. And if you're going to do a pair of pants, ask somebody to pin it up where you want it to be. Now, if it's a guy and it's more of a straight-legged, they're going to actually wear them a little bit shorter, especially if they're going to wear some cool socks with them. But if they have wider dress pants, then you want it to come down and usually touch the top of the shoe. But for girls, well, are you wearing them with boots? Are you wearing them with heels? Are you wearing them? Well, all the other decisions you make. These I wear with boots, and sometimes I wear with flats as well. I know exactly where I want them. I can measure without ever even having to put them on. You take your crotch seam, yes, that's what it's called. You take your crotch seam and you put it together, and I know, unfortunately, I only have 26-inch seam. My inseam is so short, 26 inches. So that's where I need to end, at 26 inches. So I look at this and I say, well, if I want to end at 26, then I have a little bit extra here that I've got to go. And I use my handy dandy tape measure, and it's showing me it's at about 2.25 inches. Now, if I lose a little bit more or a little bit less, it's not going to really make a difference, because as I was folding them up, they're thicker, so they're taking up some space. So all I've decided is I'm cutting off all this other hem that was down there. Sometimes I actually have to take a seam ripper and rip that out, but this time all I have to do is cut this off. I'm taking a straight pin, push in, push back out again. Notice how I didn't flip and flop it. And I'm going to do this at 2 spots. I'm assuming that most people's legs are about the same size. No, they're not exactly the same size, but most of us are close enough that this is fine. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm cutting off that last bit. And these are my kitchen or my sewing shears. And I don't let anybody else use my shears, because I would love these shears to stay just as sharp as they are now. So now that I've cut this off, I'm ready to go. And did you notice I turned my pants inside out? Because it's easier for me to work that way. If it's not exactly even, I'm going to fix it. It's not going to matter. So let's put that piece aside for now, and let's go to this one. I want to come up just about 1 inch. I'm going to turn it over about 1 inch, and then I'm going to flip it up an additional inch. And I am going to pin it in, and I'm going straight up and down because I haven't decided which way I'm sewing yet. Don't worry, when we get to the nitty-gritty stuff, then we're going to get nice and close so that you can see it. So I'm going 1 inch, or that, less. That's not bad though, it's pretty close to it. So 1 inch, and then another inch. Now, I'm making what I would consider to be a faux pas because I didn't start at my seams. I usually prefer to start at the seams to turn it under, but because these are straight-legged or close-legged at the bottom, all I'm going to do is this. And once I've done that, I have an idea. Follow the seam, the way that the seam already was, turn it under again. And I'm not worrying about measuring it. I'm worrying about making sure that it looks flat and even. You don't want it to be curving, because if it's curving, then you've made an issue with it. It's going to come out a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. Go again. I'm going under about 1 inch. Turn again, and I'm going to give a pull. There we go. It's turned itself under, which is the wonderful thing about fabric, which with wood doesn't give, but fabric does. So there we go. I've done this. I'm ready to go to sew it. I already have my thread. How much thread do you need? I don't know. That's exactly how much you need. I take the thread this way, start it, hold my fingers here in the middle to let it go. I don't know. And I cut the thread. Once I cut it, I thread the needle and I double it, and I do not knot it. And if you've watched any of my other hand sewing videos, you know that to be true. I've decided I'm going to sew this way, not this way, although I have sewn this way before, but I'm thinking as I'm doing this, I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to be sewing from right to left because I'm right-handed and that's what works better for me. So I'm going to go from right to left. Well, I don't want to get stabbed with these needles. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and put the needles in, and I've decided I want to go in that direction. So as I'm sewing, I'm going to pull them out. All right, so right to left. Go ahead again. I'm going to show you how to start it out, and then I will sew some more and you will be able to watch it. Just a second. All right, right to left, right to left. It's already done. I'm going to do the same thing to the other leg, and then we're going to switch the camera so that you can actually see what I'm doing. So I have taken my, I don't know, as much thread as I needed, and I'm probably going to need a second needle, so I've already gone ahead and threaded it, and I've doubled it. I have not knotted it. I'm going into this piece of fabric and I'm pulling through, and I don't have any glasses on, so I hope I don't pull through too much. And I've pulled through, I've left a little bit of a tail. I'm going into the same spot the second time. If you catch it on something, try to be really careful as you lock it in. That's 2, and a lock-in is 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And look at that. It's not going anywhere. So now that I've locked it in, I'm going to come over and take what I call is a bite or a couple of fibers out of the fabric. That's the fabric that's the outside part that people are going to see. So I'm going to flip it over. I just did it right here. You don't see anything. This is what would be called is a hand blind hem stitch. And so I'm going to go over again. I'm going to work this way because it works better for me. I'm going to take a bite out of there, a bite out of the fabric that I have turned back. See, I'm just turning it back with my thumb. I'm going to take a little bit of a bite and a bite. So I'm going through just a few fibers of the fabric that's the actual pant leg. I'm going to come again, turn this back, and I know that you don't need to watch this whole thing forever and ever, but I want to get to the quarter because I want to show you what I need to do. Come back again, pop it in. It's funny, I have a person that I used to work with, and she lives in Florida now, and she's coming back to Pennsylvania sometime this month and said, can I bring some clothes with me for you to do some repair work on? So they're coming all the way from Florida for me to do that. All right, so I've taken this and I'm giving a little pull. This is stretch fabric. I'm giving a little bit of a pull. I'm looking on this side. You can just barely see the bites that I have done, but I know that it's connected in. If you're a guy, you've never done this before, but a girl have on occasion stepped on your pant leg, and when you step on it, you tear out your hem and you cry because how the heck are you going to put it back in? What you're going to do when you hand sew is you're going to go into that turned down fabric, and I'm going to go 1, and I'm going to do a basic lock in, and I'm going to wrap my needle right behind to the left, pull it through, it makes a knot. Now if I stepped on this, it's not going to unravel the rest of the fabric. It's only going to unravel a little bit. So then I'm just going to continue on, and when I get to the seams, I'm going to do the exact same thing, which is locking it in. Let me just finish doing this, and then I'll finish, come around.
You do not need to be watching this, or this is one of those things like it's like,
All you need to be able to do is see this beginning part over and over and over again. A few threads of fabric there, and you can take more out of the part that is on the inside. A few threads and a little bit more. When you are almost out of thread, you need to lock it in. And if that means you have 1.5 inches left to go and you're locking it in twice, so be it. That's what you have to do, because you can't run out of thread and assume it's just going to stay in. And the locking it in is just like a knotting, and it does so much better. All right, so once again, I didn't turn it under. I'm just putting my threads in between there. I'm here. I'm going to actually go right into the exact same spot, 2, and I turned it around right behind to the left, pull it through, it makes a knot, and I'm going to do it 1 more time. So I already have the first half done. It's not going anywhere. I don't have to worry. It's not puckering. It's not pulling. It looks pretty darn good, don't you think? I don't think anybody is ever going to know that this was not done by a professional. Oh wait, I think I am. No, I'm kidding, I'm not. Anyway, all right, turning the camera off. So I've done both pant legs and I'm ready to go with this one. I just give it a little stretch. It looks great. I look on the inside, I look on the outside. You can barely see my stitches, but I want to make it look more professional. So I want to press it. I always use a wet cloth, and this is, I have no idea what this is. I think it was a piece of an old sheet or something. So I'm going to lay this wet cloth down, and then I'm going to put it inside there, and I'm folding it over top of it. Why am I using a wet cloth? I'm using a wet cloth because I don't want to damage the fibers of the fabric. So I have it like this. I'm going to use wet, I'm going to use heat, and you all know it's going to be shh, steam. If it's not steam, I haven't done it right. And that's the sound you're listening for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I actually thought about not doing it correctly so I could show you how it damages the fabric of the fibers and makes them shiny. But I just didn't want to ruin my pants. I kind of like them. All right. Oh, that's not as loud as it needs to be. You know what that means? It means my cloth isn't wet enough, and I need to find another spot for my cloth. So let me go over here, and I'm going to go ahead and drop that in and see if I can get this to sound a little bit better. Ah, that's better. All right, 1, 2, I should have pulled it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The thing I didn't show you is that I didn't have these right on top of each other. I actually turned them sideways a little bit because I don't want too much pressure. This is really thick where the seams come together, and that's where my issue was. I don't want it to make it too thick there. Just all I'm doing is finishing that off because I pulled this apart a little bit and made it flatter, if that makes any sense. The pants, you can see where the little bit of the water line is. That was where part of my fold was. So I just want to get rid of that. It's flat. It's not fluffy like it was before. And this is what the outside looks like after you're finished. It's flatter on the bottom and it gives a professional look. That's what you're looking for. Look how easy this was. It takes me just about 3/4 of an hour to do something like this. Easy enough to do. And I understand, I've been doing it for a long time, so I am going to be faster than you are, but this is easy for you to do. Don't walk away from something and say, I'm never buying those pants because they're a little bit too long. If you need to get a pair of dress pants for some guy to wear one time or to a wedding, go to Goodwill and find them, and you can hem them. It's so easy for you to do. Okay, that's it. So here I am with my 26-inch inseam, and they're ready to go. And I can wear these again without them being folded up and bulky at the bottom. They are a little bit wider than they were originally because they kept getting thinner and thinner as they went down. If I wanted to get involved, I could have gone ahead and done a seam to make them a little bit smaller. But really, the difference between this and this is so little, I am certainly not going to worry about it. All right, so I'm getting low here. I need to get some more people. You need to like, you need to subscribe, and I need to be able to see names. And I pulled 2 out, so let's see. Oh, Lisa Salak. Oh my gosh, Lisa told me like 1,000 years ago, actually 6 months ago, hey, when she watched the guacamole recipe, I do those things. So I'm glad to know that, I validated that she can cook. So thank you, Lisa, for being a person who watches it. I don't know who Traveling Man is, but I know that we have seen some things from him. And thanks, Traveling Man. We love you too. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, share, tell people that you've met me on this. And hey, did you hear Mrs. McDonough? Or did you see that short woman with a 26-inch inseam? Whatever. I hope that this helps you someday so that you also can hem your very own pants. And I'll talk to you very soon.